channels. So Your League Lately, it's an e-newsletter that we send out every 2 weeks. So it goes out on a Sunday, with this next edition going out this coming Sunday. We have an internal Facebook group that's focused on our Junior League members. It is, you have to ask for access. So if you're not a member of it, please go ahead and look on there. So people are sharing news that's happening within the league. Members share kudos for jobs well done, things that they're seeing about our members in the community, interesting articles or other training opportunities that members may find interesting. And then coming soon, we're going to be launching a Junior League member LinkedIn group. We also have EntreNou, which has been around for quite a while, and that's our quarterly mailed newsletter. And then we have our Junior League member homepage. Some people call it Digital Cheetah. So you'll find information about the groups that you're advising on there, a directory of members, guides for various things in the league, along with our brand guidelines and the process for certain approvals. If you cannot log into your member homepage, please let one of us know and we'll get that figured out for you. In our external communications and marketing, we have plenty of social media channels. We've got a Facebook page that gets great engagement. We've got an Instagram. Narisha has an Instagram as well. That's a Junior League president account. We have a Twitter account. We are going to be launching our LinkedIn account this year. All of them have the same handle at Junior League BR. And then we also send out news releases and do earned media opportunities as appropriate. And then we have our Junior League website that's frequently updated. And then we also do paid advertising. So things you'll see, ads for holidays, ads for Touch a Truck, things in Register are all of our paid advertising.
With that, we'll discuss fund development. And Tristy, are you taking it from there?
We had a question about how to sign up. A question about how to sign up for Your League Lately.
You want me to take that?
Yes.
Okay. So Your League Lately, so we pull directly from our member directory. So if you don't have an email address associated with it, let me know. We can go ahead and get you added to it. And then we've had a couple people who have been accidentally unsubscribed from MailChimp, is the software system that we use. So we're trying to work through the kinks there. So if you want to just send me an email, or you can add it into this chat and I can go ahead and verify for you, make sure you're subscribed.
Is it for sustainers?
Great, thank you.
So fund development is actually, yeah, I was going to say it's actually going to be presented by the sustaining advisor to fund development, Jessica Tate.
So Michelle couldn't be with us tonight, but I did have the opportunity to sit in on fund development this week. And I know this group is really excited to tackle all things fundraising for the Junior League. You know, I think with Michelle leading at the helm, she knows firsthand how the effects of COVID have affected our fundraising efforts. She was chair of Touch a Truck last year and had to quickly shift and take that event virtual. So y'all can go to the next slide. So fund development's goals this year are obviously looking to evaluate all of our fundraisers while fostering innovative modifications for growth. You know, we do know that we're going to adapt to the current climate, and, you know, with all of our events, we're just going to have to take it event by event. Next slide. Our fundraiser holidays, I don't know how many of you have heard, but we are going to be taking holidays this year virtually. I think that this was the decision that the committee made and brought it to the board, and they really, I feel like, made the right decision for this year. We don't know what things are going to look like in October, and this was the best decision, not only for our community, our members, but also our merchants. And River Road Recipes, still our longest standing fundraiser, and I know that is something we're going to be looking at. River Roads, obviously holidays was such a great vehicle for us to sell those cookbooks. So to continue looking how we're going to continue creating, you know, and pushing out that legacy and getting people still purchasing River Road Recipe cookbooks. Next slide. Touch a Truck. This was our first event that had to go virtual. And they are, again, you know, obviously looking forward to getting children out there, being able to touch and explore the big trucks and vehicles, but they are looking at every single avenue that, you know, we could potentially take. You know, a lot of us were looking at not getting into the hospitals again until 2021. You know, by spring of next year, we'd love to be outside, having the kids learning and exploring, but we just don't know. So again, they're navigating what that looks like. And then our endowment fund. And I think times like this, really, so many of you who were on this call were instrumental as this fund was started. And this fund really, I think now more than ever, shows that we have the sustainable support, you know, not only for this year, but for perpetuity. So I look forward to this because I think that this is the perfect year for us to really educate all of our members about how this fund came to be, you know, why it's so important, and how it's so much more important than, you know, adding a couple dollars to your dues every single year. And that is it for fund development. Oh, no, it is not. So last year, Women's Leadership Conference was put on last year. It was a project of last year's president, and now it is our fundraiser in development. So looking to move this to a fundraiser, they were able to have this event go off successfully right before everything closed down for the stay-at-home order. And it really went out the gate with huge success. I think it was so well received. You know, not only our league members loved it, but women around the community. So continuing to grow this event, it will still be an event, but we foresee this becoming the league's next fundraiser.
And so, Jessica, I will just quickly add that when this event took place, we had Layla Ali as the speaker, and then we had several breakout sessions that were scheduled because literally when they made the announcement about going to shelter at home, it literally took place in the middle of our luncheon last year. And so we had rearranged the event so that we just had Layla Ali, and we canceled all of the other additional sessions, but we promised all the sponsors of the event and the individuals who had planned to speak that we would hold their sessions at a later date. So we are already in the process of developing the graphics so we can start advertising that to the individuals who signed up to participate in that conference. So if that was you, if you had signed up for it, know that that will be coming soon. Budget and endowment.
All right, my turn. I'm Ashley Connolly. I'm the financial VP this year. Next slide. We'll talk about money. So basically the goal of the Financial Council is to support the rest of the Junior League. So we look at the financial health of the organization. We look at the transactions. We work with Michelle Johnson, who's our bookkeeper, look at the budget, and just look at investments, insurance, all the things that our money goes to in the league. Next slide. So our Junior League fiscal year runs from June to May. And we require that our general fund budget is balanced. We also have we have the general fund budget, but we also have our 3 fundraiser budgets, and they are reviewed annually by the treasurers of the fund development, the financial VP, and then the president-elect. Next slide. So membership dues and fees. We do get a significant amount of money for our budget from dues. So actives bring in around $50,000 a year. Provisionals bring in around $37,000 a year. Sustainers bring in around $83,000 a year. And then we have some miscellaneous fees in there that are around $250. Next slide. And member dues. So we review our dues every 4 years. So the next time we're going to review our dues, it's going to be the 2021-2022 year. And we can also increase our dues if AJLI would increase their dues, and we would increase it by that same amount that they increase their dues. Next slide. So these are our council budgets. This is just a little portion of the budget. If you have any interest in looking at all the different line items of the budget, let me know. It's also on Digital Cheetah, but this is a important part of our budget. So community council, we allocate around $200,000 to those projects. Fund development, $500. Marketing communications, around $50,000. Membership, we allocate around $75,000 this year. And then training and organizational development, around $23,000 this year. Next slide. So fundraisers and our events. So this year, when we look back at last year, Holidays took in around $411,000. This year, we are projecting less since it's a virtual market. So we're projecting around $173,000. Touch a Truck, we brought in $24,000 this year. Next year, we're projecting, or this year, we're projecting around $27,000. River Roads Recipes, last year, we brought in $27,000. This year, we're projecting around $400. And the Women's Leadership Conference, which is not an official fundraiser yet, but we did take in around $17,000 last year, and we are projecting around $5,000 this year. So next slide. And reserve funds. So we also have money in reserve, around $1.25 million. And we have different reserve funds. So we have the operating reserve fund, we have one for headquarters, capital improvements, which would be kind of a technology fund, speakers fund, and community reserve fund. And this is a really important fund when you think about, we might not be bringing as much money into Holidays. So in the future, this community reserve fund is there for us. Next slide. And reserve funds, we will also pull money out of our reserve funds, and we have some money budgeted that we can pull out if needed this year. So headquarters, if we want to make improvements to the headquarters, we budgeted that we can pull out $5,000. Technology and capital improvement, we can, put $5,000 into our technology at the league, and then the master reserve is $20,000, and we can use this kind of as a loan for the Women's Leadership Conference, and seed money, if you will. Next slide. And the endowment, which has already been mentioned today. So every year we give a minimum of 5% or up to 10% to the endowment, as long as our fundraisers bring in at least $275,000. So last year, this year we budgeted a total of $23,000 to go into our endowment. So our current total amount in the endowment is estimated to be $2.3 million currently. And I think that's all of my slides.
Yes, so there was a question that was asked in the chat from Jessica, and that is, has AJLI had any discussions about raising dues at recent conferences? So funny that you asked that. That was actually on the agenda for the conference that was coming up. Namisha and I had conversations about if it passed, what we thought that would look like. And as you can imagine, they have decided they took that off the agenda for May. So I'm sure that when things have become the new normal, that they will revisit that conversation again, but it's not on the table at the moment. Okay. With that, I will pass it on to Monique for training. And if you have other questions, please be sure to put them in the chat.
Sounds great. Thank you, Narisha. So I am Monique Scott Spaulding, Training and Organizational Development Vice President. And I want to share a moment of history with you. Obviously, the training is an integral part of our organization. It's our mission and it's return on investment for our membership. The organization was obviously founded to coach and mentor women to promote social reform. So social responsibility is just embedded in our vision. Under Jessica Tate's leadership and FY18, the leadership team discussed the importance of utilizing our training curriculum to expand our training offerings in both frequency and content. There was an ad hoc committee that was formed at that time as well to assess the organizational structure and the capacity to implement a new council to focus specifically on training, as Tristy mentioned. The council was instituted under Zelma Frederick's leadership in FY19 to fulfill the mission of the league. In FY20, our goal was to increase the number of trainings and the variety of sessions. And so that's how the council was instituted. Next slide, please. And so you'll see our description is, basically our mission, and then we are to manage and coordinate and the execution of amendments. Of the training curriculum and continuum. We look at amendments and revisions for the trainings as well. We want to ensure that we have a variety of, meaningful trainings for our members so that we truly can fulfill our mission of having our trained volunteers in the community and for junior league leadership as well. Training and diversity and cultural inclusion committees collaborate with the new member committee and the placement committee. And together this year we are building a curriculum. So next slide, please. And so you'll see there that our goals are listed. Our primary goal is to enhance the training program. And so with that, our first step is to build the curriculum. The council met the full month of June. We met 4 times. I think I made Narisha cringe a moment or two, but we met 4 times to build a curriculum around the AGLI civic leadership competencies and skills. There are 29 competencies, about 35 skills that are listed in that document from AGLI, and the curriculum is built with content and outcomes and different methods. We looked at placements, we looked at volunteer experiences and the different components of our membership, new members, active members, and sustaining members. We're also creating development tracks. There are tracks that our members will be able to look at their training and determine which level they want to pursue in the league. And so the first track is civic leadership. The second track is junior league leadership. We have a professional development track. We have a personal development track and a social networking track as well. And so we're excited to see those come to fruition. And then the last part of our goal for council this year is to develop learning modules. We want to ensure, obviously, that we have good training sessions built with, good syllabi and good content for our members. That will allow us to evaluate proficiency and the competencies and skills. I'll draw your attention to the specifics for the training committee and for the diversity and inclusion committee. And so as you see on the slide there, training is responsible for developing a curriculum tool so that we can monitor so that we can monitor the quality of content and the level of growth. We want to look at outcomes with some metrics. We want to look at proficiency. We're going to use polls. We're going to survey our members. It's important to us that we are meeting the needs of our members and meeting the interests of our members as well. And the Diversity and Inclusion Committee will review the curriculum with us and monitor trainings to ensure that we have elements of equity and inclusion in the development of the leadership pipeline. So I have a few poll questions for you, and I'll invite you to, we're going to move really quickly through them. It's only 3 questions, but I invite you to engage with us in this way. And so the first polling question should be on your screen. And we ask that everyone takes a moment to answer if you've participated in a training in the past 3 years. Yes or no? Just a few seconds. Okay, so we'll allow 5 more seconds. Tristy, do you see our results?
I was gonna say, are y'all voting? I've only got 2 votes. Oh, 3. Oh, I think it's because it has all 3 at one time.
Right. I think we're gonna.
I'm sorry.
I think we're gonna have to go through all 3 and then click submit.
So the second question is, are you interested in serving as a resource to the council? We're looking for facilitators, we're looking for hosts. You see the examples there of resources that we'd love for you to engage. And so please, and you can select multiple choices, so you don't just have to select one. And then our last question, as you see there, we want you to place the answers in the chat, but we'd like you to share topics of interest for training sessions. I've heard a variety where women would like a book club, they'd like a gaming option, a gaming group. There's been subjects related to unconscious bias with the social climate that's happening now. And so we just encourage you to type your answers in the chat of what interests you.
And while y'all are typing your answer to that, there's a question in the chat of, will trainings be available to sustainers? Yes. At this point, I can't think of a training that we would offer, that why wouldn't we offer it to the sustainers as well, unless it's something specific to a particular position. So for the moment, all the trainings that we send out, we intend to share it with new members, actives, and sustainers.
Thank you, Narisha, for that. And while we're typing everything in the chat, I want to make sure to mention that we have a 3-part training series that will be facilitated by Dr. Catrice Albert. The first session is July 16th. We have over 150 women that have registered for that training. There are several SUSTAIN members that are there as well. So we would love to have you, as many as would like to join us. Catrice is a phenomenal presenter. Many of you know her and have worked with her. So we're really excited that she's returning to us. And one last good bit of information, I'm not sure if you're aware, but the Diversity and Cultural Inclusion Committee won the HGLI Award for Diversity and Cultural Inclusion this past year. And the stipend that was received from that award actually facilitated the training that Catrice will do. So we're super proud of our women and continued training efforts. Thank you, ladies.
So the outcomes of the poll, we had 52% who have attended the training session in the past 3 years and 48% who have not. And then we've also got lots of volunteers for facilitation, hosting, and being a resource.
Excellent. Thank you, ladies. I look forward to working with you.
Oh, never mind. I can share the results. There you go.
Hi, my name is Sarah Schnauder. I will be sharing with you guys some things, some tools that you can use through your member profile on the website. I think that earlier Grace mentioned that y'all should all be able to log in, and she would be able to help you if you're not able to. So if you've not logged in, this is what your member profile would look like once you do log in. On the right side of the page, down at the bottom, you're going to see where it says My Groups. So you will be in your council groups, or you will be in your any group that you're advising. That's where you would find it. Next slide. So once you click on that, whichever group you're trying to go into, you will see this page. Up at the top, you would see a tab labeled Files. So this is if you were trying to access anything that may have been uploaded to your member group. So that could be mission reports, that could be motions that are coming up, anything like that. So that's where you would click. And then within that, you would select the month that you're looking at. So I was pointing at June of 2020. You'd click there, next slide, thanks. And then under that, you're gonna see 3 different folders, most likely. Now, if your secretary sets it up differently, you may see it differently, but typically what you're gonna see is meeting minutes, mission reports, and motions, or the agenda. So you would click on that, and the next slide. And this is where you're gonna see all the mission reports that have been uploaded, and then you would be able to click on, over to the right, you'll see kind of a download area, and then you would just click on it or double click. Yes, thank you. And next slide. And that's it. So yeah, so it would download for you from there. And then we're going to move on to motion forms. So if you had a member of your council or committee that was asking for how to find a motion form, this is how you would do it. So go back to your member homepage. Up at the top, you'll see resources, the resources tab. You'd click there. And then under that, you'll see forms. So you click on that. Next slide. Okay, so under here, you're going to see all the different types of printable forms you can find. The motion form is down in the printable form area on the right side. And you're going to see that it says updated for 2020. And so that's the form you'd like to use. There are older forms. You click there and it's going to download to your toolbar and then double click and you'd be in your Word document for that. Okay, and then finally, the last thing you're going to see on your member page is going to be your group share. So go ahead, next slide. So group share is where we were before. So that's going to be anything. You can see all the files right here down in the middle. That's going to be anything that's been uploaded recently, the most recently uploaded files. And then over to the right, again, if you click on your group, next slide. This is your group share. So if someone refers to group share, this is what they're discussing. This is going to be all of your recently uploaded files. You can send an email and you can make an event. You can do all sorts of different things within this forum. So this, if they're just talking about group share, this is what they're talking about. And it is a great resource. And then finally, if you'd like to attend a training, which I think some of y'all are asking about, this is how you do it. So on your member homepage, up at the top, you're going to see the trainings that are currently taking place or scheduled to take place. So that's where you would click. As it says training, click here. So that's where you click. Next slide. So then once you go into it, you're going to see all the trainings that are available for you to register for. Over on the side, you're going to see the register button, and it's super simple. You just click on that register button. Next slide. And if you do, you're going to be, this will pull up for you. So it's going to tell you the details of the event, time, place, who's presenting, all the information. And you can also see who's attending. Next slide. Yeah, so once you do that, you're going to scroll all the way to the bottom and press OK. Next will be this registration confirmation page. If you don't get this, that just simply means that you did not actually confirm the registration. You will receive an email confirmation to your email associated with your account, and it will show you everything you need to know, as well as the location of the meetings and things like that. You'll also get email reminders regarding the training coming up as it gets closer.
And so with that, thank you, Sarah. Want to open the floor and see if there are any questions about anything that's been presented today, whether that's community, the financials, our fundraisers, anything about Digital Cheetah that we could answer for you. And there's no question that is silly. Great, look, we were like, this is gonna be a tough crowd. They already know everything about the league. But we know that there are some things that have changed. And so if at any point in time you have any questions, please ask us. We want to be a resource in any way that we can, because we're so grateful for the fact that, again, that you've said yes to being a sustaining advisor this year. There is a question of, did y'all consider increasing CAF grant amounts further with COVID? We didn't decide to increase them beyond 5,000 because we wanted to make sure that it was something sustainable. I will say that in the grants that started to come in last year, because we were shut down as a league whenever our second grant cycle happened, is that we did take in consideration about responding to maybe much more urgent needs to the community, and we chose to not sponsor events because we didn't know when they were going to happen. So we're trying to be responsive in that way, but not necessarily by increasing the grant amount.
Arisha, when y'all increased that amount to 5,000, I know typically before you could go to the board for anything above 2,500. Is there even now a board approval above
Yes.
5?
The new board approval is at 7,500. Yes, great question. Okay, I want to be respectful of time. Yolanda has me, y'all don't know, I've been in meetings with Yolanda for a year. She makes sure that I'm sticking to my schedule and being respectful of people's time. So I want to turn the floor over to Yolanda for any closing announcements.
First, unmute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, well, I want to say thank you to first all of the sustainers for agreeing to be a sustainer advisor or remaining as a sustaining advisor when I called you or emailed you. I think I've either talked to you or emailed you, so I really do appreciate that. I hope this information has been helpful. I did hear from a number of you with a few questions. And I just kind of mentioned this offhandedly to Norisha, that maybe we ought to do a training, and she made it happen with Monique and her training council and a number of the other ladies here. You can tell from the presentation that these are a fantastically talented group of women. And they are fully capable of handling the business of the league. But I think that all of us, no matter how capable and confident of our abilities, we can all benefit from some history and some seasoned perspective that I hope that you will provide to them, to the committee or council, and to whoever is your chair or council VP. I just want you to remember that you are a full voting member of the council or committee. So that makes you responsible for doing the homework, reading, going to your member homepage and uploading those things and looking at, you're responsible for being just as prepared as they should be. And I know you all, I chose you because you were great women and you will do the job that is asked of you. I'm available to all of you by phone, email, just give me a call if you have any questions. I just think this was wonderful, and I want to say thank you to everyone.
Thank you. There is a question that appeared in the chat that said, are there any do's or don'ts for sustaining advisors? The only thing that I would say, and then Yolanda, I would ask that you chime in just based on your experience from this past year, is that I think what you may find as a sustaining advisor is that you may, as I understand it, we have more and more women who are serving as chairs who are in their second or third year of their membership as opposed to their sixth or seventh year. And so there is probably a larger learning curve than maybe you have experienced in the past. Don't be afraid to give that guidance to the members because often they really just don't know. Yolanda, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
I would, obviously I did not start in Norisha with someone who had limited experience, but I find that everybody, most of the ladies either ask for your viewpoint, so do be prepared to give your viewpoint. They're just looking for guidance. There is, are we sending out the guide, the sustaining, the
Yes.
out? Okay, so there is a guide that I think is very helpful. It's like 70 pages, but there's a lot of stuff in there, like the codes for the office. Don't set off the code, that's a don't. But you know, all that information is in there. But I just think that if you just give them your perspective and be willing to listen and provide advice, that's the best do that you can give.
The other question was, will this presentation be available via Digital Cheetah? So our intent is to send out an email within the next day or so. It will have the agenda, it will have the guide, and it will also have a recording of today's training in it. Now I must apologize because I logged on 30 minutes early and said pause the recording and then realized a little ways through that I had not said restart the recording. So there will be a little bit missing from the end, but I might be testing my technical skills and figure out how we can re-record the beginning. So get ready, VPs. Okay. That is it. Well, with that, we ask that you have a lovely evening. And again, thank you for joining. And if you have any questions, please let us know.
Hey, Norisha, did you see in the chat, someone asked if they could get a list of all the sustaining advisors?
Yes. We can actually
The list is included in the manual.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, all.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, Monique.
Hi.